back to my channel. My name is Frances, and if you're new, welcome. If you're not, thank you for always being here. So I know I've been away for so long, and that's because I have a lot going on right now. I've been focusing on other things, so that's why I had to take a break from YouTube and crocheting. But now I'm back, and today I'm going to show you guys a tutorial on how I made this bikini cover up. Is an easy tutorial. It's very easy to follow. So if you guys don't really understand anything, you can leave a comment section a comment down in the comment section. I'm definitely going to explain better to you. So like I said, I'm sorry I've been away for so long because I've had a lot going on and I needed to focus on other things. Also, I'm trying to incorporate other things into my channel. I just don't want it to be just crocheting tutorials. I want to be doing my poetry here, cooking, vlogs, just basically my life. I just don't want it to be just crocheting tutorial because it's going to be boring for me, and honestly just doing tutorials every time is stressful, and I can't just be posting only tutorials on my channel. I want my channel to be more about me. So yeah, the main thing is going to be about is crocheting tutorials and everything crocheting related, but other things are going to be incorporated into um the channel. So let me just leave you guys to watch the tutorial, and don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section. I'm going to see you guys in my next tutorial. And if you end up making this bikini cover up, and you can send me a picture. This tutorial, I'm going to be using my size 4mm hook, my measuring tape, and my double tin yarn. So you can use any lightweight yarn of your choice since this is a summer project. So to get started, you're going to start by measuring round your bust to under one of your arms, since this is going to be a one-hand gown. So I'm going to leave a clip of how I did my measurements. But to get started, my measurement was 38 inches, so I'm going to make a chain that's going to give me 38 inches. So I did a total of 140 chains. So when you're making your chain, try to make it a multiple of 5. So I did a total of 140 chains, which gave me 38 inches. So yours might differ depending on the yarn you're using and your tension. So I'm just going to join the two ends together. Now we've done our chain stitch. For the first round, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go back into the chain with 2 more double crochet. 1, 2. So this is our first shell stitch. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And go into the 5th chain with 3 double crochet. So we are alternating between the shell stitch and the chain stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. And go into the 5th chain with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put 3 double crochet in the 5th chain. So for this round, I'm just going to be alternating between my chain stitch and my shell stitch. So 1, 2 and 3, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had to redo the beginning of this tutorial because I lost the clip of the first one I did. So the rest of the tutorials for the other parts of the gown might be different setting, and my nails were kind of chappy there because I lost the first clip of the beginning pattern and I had to just redo it. So for now, we'll just be alternating between the shell stitch and the chain 4 stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the 5th chain with 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to do this till I get to the end of this round. First round, and you just have to make sure this round is not twisted. So I ended up with a chain stitch and I slip stitch into the chain 3 we did for the shell stitch. So now for the next round, for this round, you're going to mark off where you want your sleeve to be. So like I said, it's going to be a one-hand gown. So I'm just going to mark off where I want the sleeve to be. So this is our starting, this is where we start for each round. So I'm just going to mark off 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to mark off 4 chains and put my stitch marker into the 4th shell stitch. 1, 2, 3 plus the starting shell stitch 4. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is where the other stitch marker is going to be. So to mark off your sleeve, you're just going to decide where you want your sleeve to start from. So this is where my sleeve is going to be. I marked off 4 shell stitch on both sides from the starting shell stitch. So now for the next round, I'm going to chain 3, and this serves as our first double crochet. Now I'm going to go in with 2 more double crochet to give us our shell stitch. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the chain stitch and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. 1, 2 and 3, chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Skip the next chain stitch and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've gotten to the shell stitch where our stitch marker is, and I'm going to be going in with 5 double crochet, not 3. I'll be going in with 5 double crochet. So 1, 2, 5. So the extra 2 double crochet serves as an increase because this is where your sleeve is going to be and you want it to get wider, so it's going to fit your hand. So I've done 5 double crochet. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So whenever you get to where your stitch marker is, you're going to be going in with 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4 chains, go into the next chain, the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to keep on alternating between the shell stitch and the chain stitch till I get to where the other stitch marker is, and then I'm going to show you guys what to do over there. Skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So now I'm at the other end where I have my stitch marker. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to be going in with 5 double crochet. So the extra 2 double crochet serves as an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So we're only going to be doing 5 double crochet in where our stitch marker is. So 1, 2, and 3, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the next chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Skip the chain 4 space, and this is the end of the round. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the third chain of this chain 3 we did. So that's the end of this round. For the third round, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this serves as our first double crochet. Now I'm just going to go in with 2 more double crochet to make it 3 double crochet. I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just alternating between the shell stitch and the chain stitch. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Skip the chain 4 space, and this is our increase where we did 5 double crochet. Yeah, so I'm just going to go into the middle and go in with 5 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So whenever you get to this increase where you did 5 double crochet, you're going to go in with 5 double crochet, and you're going to do the same thing at this other end where you did 5 double crochet. You're going to go in with 5 double crochet, and you're just going to continue with the chain stitch and the shell stitch, which is 3 double crochet. So you're only going to be doing increase where you get to, when you get to the, whenever you get to this increase, you're going to be doing your 5 double crochet. So I'm going to be doing 5 double crochet each time I get to this end, and 5 double crochet each time I get to this end. And I'm going to do this till I get the length I want for my sleeve, till I get to the end where I am going to do the length of my sleeve, and then I'm going to show you guys what to do next. But if you have any question, you can leave that in the comment section below, and I'm going to explain it better to you guys. So I did 11 rows of the mesh stitch or the shell stitch. Now for the armhole, I'm just going to tie my yarn in the middle of this 5 double crochet we did. You know, we did 5 double crochet in the front and the back to give us the arm. So now I'm just going to tie my yarn in the middle of the chain 5. So now that I've tied my yarn to the middle of the chain 5, I'm just going to make a chain and connect it to this other chain 5. So for this, you're going to measure your arm and decide how wide you want your armhole to be. So I'm just going to make a chain of 25. So 1. But if you're using more than 25, try to make the numbers in 5, so you can do like 30, 35. So now I'm just going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So now that I've made my chain of 25, I'm just going to attach it to the middle of this other chain 5. So now we've gotten our armhole. So I have to make sure I did this row. So yeah, we've gotten our armhole. So if you want your armhole to be wider than this, you can make a longer chain, but in 5. And this is going to be the body hole. So I'm going to start with the armhole, then I'll move to the lower part of the gown. So now I attach my chain to the middle of the chain 5. Now I'm just going to continue with the shell stitch. So since we have our chain 4 chain here, I'm going to make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to go into the shell stitch and put 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to be repeating the pattern I did for the upper part of the body. So I'm just going in with the shell stitch with 3 double crochet in the middle of the chain 3 of the shell stitch, 3 double crochet. I'm going to chain 4 now, and I'm going to go into the middle of the shell stitch, the 3 double crochet, and go in with another 3 double crochet. So like I said, I'm just repeating the pattern I did for the upper part of the body, so I'm not really going to go into details here. So I'm just going to go around until I get to where we have our chain stitch. So now I've gone around and I've gotten to the chain stitch. So for the chain stitch, we're just going to do what we did for the starting of the gown. So now, since I have a shell stitch, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the next stitch and put in 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. skip 4 stitches, 1 2 3 4, and go into the 5th stitch with 3 double crochet. I'm sorry for the noise. I'm going to chain 4, skip 4 stitches, 1 2 3 4, and go into the 5th stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to continue with this till I get to the end of the stitches. So this is our chain stitch. 1 2 and 3. I'm going to chain 4, skip 4 stitches, 1 2 3 4, and go into the 5th stitch with 3 double crochet. So like I said, I'm just going to continue with this till I get to the end of the chain stitch. So this is what the armhole is looking like, and now I've gotten to the end of the chain stitch. I'm going to, since we ended up with the shell stitch, I'm going to chain 3, 1 2 3 4, skip 4 stitches, and go into the next stitch with 3 double crochet. So 1 2 3. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1 2 3 4, skip these 4 stitches and go into the I'm going into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. 1 2 and 3, chain 4, skip the 4 chain and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Chain 4, skip the 4 double crochet stitches and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So since this is the armhole, you're just going to continue with the pattern. You're just going to be going around. This is the armhole, so you're just going to be going around till you get the length you want for your hand, or you could, so I'm going to do this like get to a certain level, and then I'm going to show you guys the next step. But for now, just do this till you get the length you want halfway. So I'm just going to be going around with the shell stitch and the chain stitch. Out the tutorial, you can leave a comment down in the comment section so that I can explain better to you. So now, since we have a shell stitch, I'm going to chain 4, 1 2 3 4, skip the chain stitch and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. And chain 4, skip the chain stitch and go into the next 3 double crochet with 3 double crochet, the next shell stitch, or 3 double crochet with 3 double crochet stitches. Okay, that was confusing. I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain stitch, and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. 1 2 and 3. So now I'm just going to continue with this pattern till I get the length I want for my armhole. Then I'm going to let you guys know how many rows I did for the armhole. So I'm done with the sleeves, and I did a total of 40 rows for the sleeves. So you can make it longer or shorter depending on the length you want to go for. Sorry, my voice. So now I'm going to be moving on to the body of the gown. So for the body of the gown, I'm just going to tie my yarn at this end on this chain we did for the arm. So I'm just going to tie my yarn here. So you can tie your yarn at any corner you want. So I'm just tying my yarn at this corner. Now I'm going to continue with the shell stitch. So I'm going to be going around this hole because this is the hole for the body. So I'm just going to be going around with the shell stitch and the chain stitch. So now we have our chain 4 here. I'm going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move into the shell stitch and go in with 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 4. Skip the chain 4 chain space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, chain 4. Skip the chain 1 stitch, the chain 1 space, chain 4 space, and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 4. Skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So that's just what I'm going to be doing for this round. I'm repeating the pattern that I did for the sleeves of the gown. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So you don't have to worry that the shell stitch is upside down because this is the sleeves. That's why you're just going to be working with the chain 4 and the shell stitch even though the shell stitch is upside down. So I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch. So now the shell stitch is not upside down, and this is because we've gotten to the body of the gown. So it's just the chain space, the chain we did for the arm, that is upside down, but that's not a problem. You're just going to be putting 3 double crochet in the shell stitch. So now I've gotten to the main body of the gown, and I'm just going to be going around with the pattern. So we'll be alternating between the shell stitch and the chain 4 stitch. So I'm just going to continue. Sorry, chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to do this till I get to the end of this round. So I've come to the end of this round. Now for the next round, I'm just going to be repeating the same thing I've been doing in the previous rounds for the sleeves and the top of the gown. So since we have a chain 4 space here, I'm going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So like I said, we're just going to be repeating the chain stitch and the shell stitch. So I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm going to do this till I get the length I want. I'm just going to be alternating between the chain 4 space and I'm going to be alternating between the chain stitch and the shell stitch. So now I'm going to do this. I'm just going to be going around till I get the length I want for my gown before I do the slit. So if you don't want the slit for the gown, you could just go around till you get the length you want for your gown and you're done for the lower part of the gown. But if you want your slits, you're just going to do this till you get the length you want and then you can do your slits. So I'm just going to do this till I get my length that I'm satisfied with before I do my slits, and I'm going to let you guys know how many rows I did when I'm done before we move over to the slit of the gown. Of 40 rows of the mesh stitch and shell stitch. So you can make this longer if you don't want your gown to have a slit, or you can make it longer till you get the length you want your slit to start from. So now this is where I want my slits to start from. So for the slits, to close up this round, I'm just going to do a slip stitch. So now this round is leveled. So for the slits, I'm going to decide where I want my slit to be, and then I'm going to show you guys what to do. So I want my slit to be on this corner of the gown. You can put your slit anywhere, in the middle or on the side. So I'm going for a side slit. So since this is a new round, instead of going round, I'm just going to be going back. So since I did a slip stitch, I'm going to chain 3. This serves as my first double crochet, and I'm going to go back into the shell stitch with 2 more double crochet. 1 and 2. So now I'm just going to continue with the chain stitch and the shell stitch. So I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So like I said, I want my slit to be on the side of the gown, so I'm just going back and forth, and this area is going to be open. I'm going to show you guys when I get to the end what I'm going to do, but for now I'm just going to be alternating between the chain stitch and the shell stitch. So I've completed my shell stitch. I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain 4 chain and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just continuing with the pattern I've been doing for the previous part of the gown. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the chain 4 space and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So like I said, I'm just going to be alternating between the 3 double crochet and the chain 4 stitches. So I'm going to show you guys what to do when I get to the other corner on how to form your slit. So I'm done with this round and I just marked off where I want my slits to be. So I marked off 3 shell stitches in the middle, and this is where my slit is going to be. So if you want your slit to be long to be wider, you can mark off where you want your slit to start, and like I said, if you don't want any slit, you could just keep going till you get the length you want for your gown. So now, since this is where I want my slit to be, I'm just going to be walking back and forth between this row, and this is going to be open. So now for the next round, I'm going to chain 3, and this serves as our first double crochet. Now I'm going to go into the middle stitch with 2 more double crochet, and this is our shell stitch. Now I'm going to chain 4, go into the next shell stitch and go in with 3 double crochet. So 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain stitch and go into the next shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to continue with this pattern and be working back and forth till you get the length you want for your gown. Chain 4, skip the chain stitch and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. Chain 4, skip the shell stitch and go into the middle, the next skip the chain stitch and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So I'm just going to do this till I get to the end of this round. So I've come to the end of this round, and I'm just going to chain 3 and turn over, and I'm going to show you guys how to sorry, I haven't gotten to the end. This last stitch. So this is going to be the slits, this hole. So we'll be walking back and forth between this end and go around till we get to this end, and this area is going to be open. So I'm just going to chain 4, this is 3, and 1 more, that's 4. Skip the chain 4 chain and go into this last stitch with 3 double crochet. 1, 2 and 3. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn over, go into the middle stitch with 2 more double crochet because the chain 3 serves as our first double crochet. So making it 3 double crochet. I'm going to chain 4, skip the chain stitches and go into the shell stitch with 3 double crochet. So we are just alternating between our chain stitch and our shell stitch, and I'm just going to do this till I get the length I want my gown to be. So like I said, this is going to be the slit area. So I'm just going to be going in with our stitches till I get to this other end, and this is where our slit is going to be. So this area is going to be open, and you can just do your slit the wide sorry guys, you can just make your slit as wide or as narrow as you want it to be. So now I'm just going to continue till I get the length of the gown. From the slit down to the end of the gown, I did a total of 45 rows of the shell stitch and the chain stitch, and then I just went round the neckline with a single crochet just to make it a bit tighter. And that's the end of the gown tutorial. So if you have any question, like I always say, you can leave a comment down in the comment section and I'm going to explain it to you better. So thank you for watching this tutorial. I'm going to see you guys in my next tutorial.